turn it back on. I have shampoo in my eyes. Are you crazy?
Sorry, Linda, you said HOA water is for members only. Since this pipe is on my land, I'm just disconnecting your illegal hookup. Died.
I'll sue you. I'll call the FBI.
She cut his garden hose. She fined him for watering his grass, but she forgot to check where the water actually came from. And now, she's dry. Welcome back to Voices of Freedom. Today's story is about the most essential resource on earth, water, and what happens when an entitled HOA president tries to steal it from a combat veteran. Question of the day: if you own the main water valve to your enemy's house, would you turn it off? Yes or no? Vote in the comments and hit that subscribe button. Let's turn the pressure up. Frank was a retired heavy machinery operator. He lived on a 5-acre plot that used to be a farm. His pride and joy was his garden. He grew prize-winning tomatoes and the greenest grass in the county. He wasn't part of the new Crystal Springs HOA that was built around him. He just wanted to be left alone with his plants. Then there was Linda, the HOA president. She was obsessed with water conservation, but only for other people. She had a massive swimming pool and 7 bathrooms in her house. She hated Frank. Why? Because his grass was greener than hers, and she couldn't stand it. One hot July afternoon, Frank was watering his roses. Linda marched over. "You, stop wasting water. We're in a drought watch." Frank shrugged. "Linda, I have my own well and my own connection. This isn't HOA water." Linda didn't believe him. "All water in this zip code belongs to the community." That night, Frank woke up to a hissing sound. He ran outside. Linda was standing in his yard with hedge trimmers. She had sliced his main garden hose into pieces. She yelled, "Consider this a warning. Stop stealing our water or I'll cut the main line next time." The next morning, Frank found a fine in his mailbox. $1,000 for theft of utility services. She wasn't just being mean. She was accusing him of a crime. Frank didn't get mad. He got curious. He went inside and grabbed his property blueprints from 1985. Frank remembered something the developers told him 20 years ago. When they built the HOA, they asked to run a pipe through the edge of his land. He had said yes. He traced the blue line on the map. It went from the city main directly through his backyard and into Linda's mansion. He walked out to the edge of his property, hidden by tall grass. He kicked away some dirt and found it. A rusted metal manhole cover stamped municipal water. He pried it open. There it was, the master valve, the valve that controlled the water for the entire north side of the HOA, including Linda's house. Frank called his lawyer. "Hey, if there is a pipe on my land without a recorded easement, can I maintain it?" The lawyer laughed. "Frank, if it's on your land and there's no contract, you can dig it up, shut it off, or paint it pink. It's your property." Frank decided to wait for the perfect moment. It came on Saturday. Linda was hosting the HOA Summer Splash. She was filling her pool, running 3 sprinklers, and prepping for 50 guests. She was using more water in one day than Frank used in a year. Frank went to the manhole. The valve was stiff. He sprayed some WD-40 on it. He attached a large pipe wrench to the wheel. He sat on a lawn chair, checked his watch, and waited for the party music to start. 1 p.m. The party started. Frank stood up. He grabbed the red wheel. He turned it clockwise. 1 turn, 2 turns, 3 turns. With a final thud, the valve hit the lock position. The flow of thousands of gallons of water stopped instantly. Inside the HOA, the pressure dropped. The dancing sprinklers sputtered and died. The hose filling the pool went limp. But the best part? Linda was in the shower, getting ready for her grand entrance. Linda had a head full of expensive conditioner. Suddenly, the powerful stream turned into a trickle, and then nothing. She screamed, hello! Hello! Is someone using the washer? She wrapped a towel around herself and ran to the window, rubbing soap out of her eyes. She looked down at the property line. She saw Frank, leaning on a giant red valve, smiling and waving at her. That's when she lost it. She ran outside, screaming like a banshee. Turn it on! You are ruining my party, Frank replied calmly. Linda, you cut my hose because I was stealing HOA water. I realized you were right, so I'm making sure no HOA water flows through my property anymore. The police arrived in 10 minutes. Linda demanded Frank be arrested for eco-terrorism. The deputy looked at the hole in the ground. He looked at Frank's deed. He looked at Linda, who was still covered in dried soap. The deputy suppressed a laugh. Ma'am, this valve is on his private land. There is no easement on file. Technically, your pipe is trespassing on his property. He has every right to shut it off. Linda turned pale. But how do I get water? The officer shrugged. I suggest you negotiate with the owner. The negotiation was short. Frank demanded a $50,000 easement fee to turn the handle back on. Linda had to write the check on the spot while her guests watched. Frank turned the water back on. He used the money to install a brand new high-tech irrigation system for his garden. Moral of the story, don't cut a man's hose if you need his pipe. If you love this revenge, smash like. Subscribe for more. This is Voices of Freedom.